Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about Eldraine. You probably saw that from the title of this video, but we're going to be talking about the Wilds of Eldraine. Not the Throne of Eldraine, Wilds of Eldraine. Don't get it confused like I did, okay? Okay. With that squared away, we're going to be talking specifically about what cards from Wilds of Eldraine that I am most excited for. We're not discussing what I think the best cards from the set are. There are players way more knowledgeable with better skill and know what they're talking about. This video is just me gushing over what cards I'm going to be picking up between now and next week when the preview season kicks off for the next set. There might be some cards in here that are vaguely considered good cards by the more competent factions of this community, but these are just my opinion, some really cool cards. But that's enough yammering from my side, so without further ado, let's go! We're going to be starting in Wooburg order, or until I mess it up and break that pattern, but the first card I'm psyched for is Archon of the Wild Rose. First of all, that artwork is majestic! I also adore the ability giving my enchanted creatures base power and toughness 4/4. This might be something to look at if you're building any of the aura commanders from this set. Armory Mice and Cheeky House Mouse are next, and they're on this list only because they're adorable. I love rodents, and so the idea of having some actual mouse cards is pretty sweet, especially after that enchanted carriage card left me yearning last time around. Oh hey, a real card. I've read online and on multiple occasions that Moonshaker Cavalry is touted to be the Craterhoof behemoth for white decks, and to be honest, that checks out. It does feel a little bit less powerful than Craterhoof, obviously, because white doesn't hemorrhage mana like green does, so it being an 8-drop might make it tricky to cast. But I absolutely want to cast this and then drop Craterhoof Behemoth just for the silly levels of overkill that would produce. Regal Bunnicorn is perhaps one of my favorite cards from the entire set. It's a rabbit and it's a unicorn. What more do you people want out of a card? Besides, it's actually a powerful ability. I almost want to say that this might eventually find itself on par with Tarmogoyf. Just know that while I don't have the slightest idea what I'm talking about here, you can say I called it first. I also rate this as an 11 out of 10 on a wanting to pet. That little snoot is just wanting for a boop. I literally have zero idea what mechanical use I would have for Aquatic Alchemist besides maybe a Spell Slinger deck looking to recycle my instance or sorcery spell, but this is on the list for being the most friend-shaped of anything on this list. Big ol' octopus-looking pile of flubber. Lord Skitter, and by extension, all of the new rat support, Lord Skitter's Butcher, Voracious Vermin, Twisted Sewerwitch, Tangled Colony, are all just super awesome cards to be frank. I have a Charumonics deck that utilizes Rat Colony as its main strategy that we covered on the channel a couple of months ago now. And these are all spicy new tech that definitely are going to be getting put into that build. So now that we've gushed over some little rodents, let's go morbid and talk about the Warehouse Tabby. We did just get an enchantment deck last set that cares about sacrificing enchantments, and so Warehouse Tabby will give us a 1/1 rat token whenever we have an enchantment hit the graveyard. My wife is building Ariette, and so this is absolutely going to have to go into that deck. Knight of the Sweets' Revenge is something that I love for my Hobbits deck. Food tokens have, until recently, been rather low on my radar, being one of the less useful artifact tokens that you can create in Commander at least. But the last few sets have really given this food a healthy dose of MSG, and now the flavor is out of this world. I hope you enjoy the food pun, I lost sleep over that bit. But we get a second way to turn our food tokens into mana rocks, and then we can then tap those food mana rock token things to give our creatures a healthy boost based on how many foods we control. I shall call this a win condition. Also in unrelated irrelevance, 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge is my favorite MCR album, and for some reason the name of this card is just vaguely reminiscent of that album title that my brain made the little happy chemicals. Tough Cookie is what I would call myself if I wasn't such a train wreck of mental health. I will, however, say that I am all for building a food deck just to include Gingy here. I'm excited to try brewing decks, or should I say, baking decks, with all of these new food support cards. Seems pretty sweet. Welcome to Sweet Tooth is another one of those food-centric cards that I am super on board for. See, we have a whole swarm of Sweet Tooth cards in this set that I think are super fun, giving us some dark, demented Hansel and Gretel meets Tim Burton kind of deal, and I am all here for it. I do wish, though, that Devouring Sugar Maw didn't have the white pip in its adventure cost, so I could include it in this deck, because the idea of a possessed Nightmare Donut is giving me some Hungry Burger vibes, and I am loving it. Greta specifically is the commander that I'm looking at for this food token sort of deck, and while that deck might be out in a little bit, I am super stoked to see at what this card offers us in terms of foodie stuff. Candy Trail literally looks like what Candyland filmed by Tim Burton would look like. But I digress. I adore the food theme, going on a little bit off the rails in this set, and the scry is just amazing value. Collector's Vault, on a more serious and professional note, is a card that I absolutely think you should be grabbing up a few copies of. This is going to end up being a Commander staple, as much as it pains me to say. Getting cheap, repeatable card draw and ramp on a colorless artifact at uncommon is going to be useful in decks needing either or. Sir Ginger, the Meal Ender, is perhaps my favorite legendary creature in this set that actually disappointed me at first. So, first of all, hooray, we have a legendary food creature that we can actually build a gingerbread deck with for the meme. My main concern is that Sir Ginger is colorless, and we have Tough Cookie as well as most of the other food support cards that are in green, which, if Sir Ginger is our commander, we are entirely unable to include. I do, however, plan to include Sir Ginger in every food deck from now on, and I love the petty hate on Planeswalkers that tie into their lore perfectly. Lastly, but simply not leastly, is the Goose Mothers, the mother of all of my food decks from now until the day I die. I never thought I'd need to build a commander deck to go so hard as this one. This is also one of the funniest commanders I've ever seen, and I am so happy that the early previews for Eldraine that showed off the reprint with the fancy art on Doubling Season, what looked to be a Goose Hydra did not disappoint. To answer the question to that one viewer who's still watching this far, yes, we are going to be building the Goose Hydra for the deck. Peace was never an option. Alrighty, and with that, we are coming to a close on what my favorite cards from Wilds of Eldraine are. I hope you enjoyed this video, so if you did, leave a like and all that good stuff. What's your favorite card from this set? If you're new here and enjoy whatever adjective you would describe this cringe as, feel free to subscribe and ring the bell so you never miss another upload. And as always, drink some water, touch some grass, and I'll see you all on the next Turns Past. Should absolutely do the Mother Goose video with some unhinged rhyme scheme and end up going mad from it. Definitely need to do that.